Hey, it's Whitney from EcoVeganGal.com, and I want to touch upon the subject of spending money and investing in good quality products. A lot of people think that the healthiest, most eco-friendly ways of living are expensive. Reality is they can be, but they don't have to be. And it's also a matter of perspective. Unfortunately, we live in a society, in America at least, where everything's kind of disposable. We have so many things within our reach, and we're also really obsessed with saving money, and thus there's so many products that are cheap and easy to get. And we're not necessarily taught to give it much thought about where it came from and how it's made. But of course, that's one of my big missions, and something I'm really trying to promote. Now, I have often found myself in places where I think, I know this is the most eco-friendly thing, but I'm just going to go ahead and buy it because I want it. Examples being like fashion stuff, shoes especially. It's really hard to find really nice vegan shoes, let alone some that are made from high-quality materials. The ones that are made from high-quality materials tend to be really expensive, and I'm not always interested in spending a ton of money on that. So sometimes I find myself going to cheap places like Ross or TJ Maxx or Payless and getting a pair of shoes made from man-made materials that cost maybe around $20. These are two examples, but there's a little bit of a problem with that. This boot, very cute, comfortable, but within a day of wearing it, the sole fell off, and they smell horrible. Like, they smell like chemicals. I never want to wear them. I wish I had never bought them, but now I'm going to just deal with it because at least the rest of the boot hasn't fallen apart yet. Then there are these 9 West shoes that I got. I wore them once and I started to get, the material started to rub off, and it just seems like completely down the drain. How am I supposed to wear nice shoes without rubbing off? Then there are things like bags and stuff like this one. Faux leather bag, look what happened here. This one lasted me a good amount of time, but still, it just now looks super cheap, kind of always did. So, all of these things are probably about $20, and I thought to myself, what would have happened if I had saved that $20, put it in like a jar or a savings account or something, and just waited until I had enough money to buy a high quality equivalent that would be more eco-friendly, come from a better place, maybe was made in the USA, made from sustainable materials, come from a better, smaller company. The product probably would have lasted me a lot longer. I would have felt more proud and wanted to use it more often, and I just would have known it would have had a lesser impact. So that actually really just occurred to me today. So one of my new goals is to just put money aside instead of going for like the inexpensive quick fixes, just because I want it right now. And I think it's really important to get into that mindset. Same thing can go for food. Yes, organic food can be expensive. Local food can actually sometimes be less expensive than, the super processed food that comes from across the world. But, we just kind of have this opinion of high quality things that are good for us to be too expensive. But if we look at the long-term benefits, this is something you probably already know, you invest the money now and you have to spend less money later. You don't have to, go to the doctor as often perhaps. Maybe you don't get as sick as often, which is money that you would be spending eventually if you're going to be eating low-quality food. And of course, there's always just that ethical impact of supporting good businesses as opposed to the bigger ones that are really just there to make money. So it's just a matter of changing opinion, and I think that it's also takes a change in lifestyle a little. I know that for my personal journey, I just had to kind of switch the way I thought, switch the way I lived, and started putting money in a different realm. I'm okay with spending, $7 in the bag of kale chips, because it makes me feel so good. It's the perfect snack. I would so much rather eat that than a $2 or $3 bag of potato chips that's going to leave me feeling yucky with no nutritional value. So you can think of 1,000 examples, from clothing and fashion and accessories and all that to food to anything else. So I just wanted to give you some examples and inspire you to start thinking differently and looking at money from a more long-term perspective. Would you rather that instant satisfaction and gratification and maybe seems like a waste of money a few months later, a couple years down the line, or would you rather invest in something that's going to make you feel good for the long term? I personally would feel for the latter, but I would love to hear how you feel. Maybe you have some different perspectives and opinions on that. You can leave those in the comment section here on YouTube. I love those conversations, and I really look forward to reading them more. I also welcome you to check out the other comments as well, because it's always interesting to hear what other people have to say. Thanks so much for watching. As always, I'm Whitney from EcoVeganGal.com. You can follow me on Facebook and Twitter again. The handles there are EcoVeganGal, of course. And I will see you later.